Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into the North Main Minute. I'm Joshua Dobie. A big piece of legislation, and you may have seen it if you follow the happenings in Congress, but a big, I would call it even historic because of the size and also because of what it addresses, recently passed through Congress, was signed into law by the president, and went by the acronym IRA, dubbed the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, I'm not going to get into a whole lot of commentary about whether it's actually going to reduce inflation or not. There are pretty strong arguments on both sides. Whether it's actually going to reduce inflation, certainly not going to do anything in the near term for the kinds of things that we're enduring from an inflation standpoint. So I don't want to get your hopes up too high unnaturally there, unfortunately. But I do want to touch on a couple of the things that are inside the legislation just briefly so that you're aware that they're out there. First big item has to do with the investment in climate-related sorts of things. And one of the easiest target points to bring to your attention is the kinds of tax credits and other incentives that were a part of the bill, that are a part of the bill, where folks are going to be given incentive to buy electric vehicles, or for manufacturers to be manufacturing electric vehicles. A real big part of it, that's the largest item that's in there in terms of incentivizing behavior for so-called green projects. So you're going to be seeing and hearing a lot about that, all the way down to and including perhaps some possibilities for tax credits with regards to your personal residence. So you definitely want to be taking a look at that. Second big item that's in there has to do with investments in infrastructure. And again, it may not be climate related, it may not be particularly inflation related, but there are a notable number of infrastructure related projects there. Not like the original one that was called Build Back America, not nearly that many involved with that, but definitely there is some investment or anticipated investment for infrastructure projects. Think rail, roads, and bridges primarily that are owned and managed by the federal government through the Department of Transportation. So that's the second big item. Third big item that's in there has to do now with the possibility that the federal government has to negotiate with Medicare for prescription drug costs. Now, you may be thinking about that, looking at that and saying, okay, I thought that was already kind of in there in the first place before this bill. Yes, it was. What this bill does, or is intending to do, is to broaden the possibilities for the federal government to negotiate with Medicare and then by implication with drug companies to reduce the cost of certain medications. Also, it's going to reduce the amount of out-of-pocket that Medicare recipients are going to need to spend for their medications as well. So definitely, if you're a Medicare recipient, you're over the age of 65, you want to kind of take a look at that, maybe even reach out to your Medicare supplement provider. I'm sure they're going to have a thought or two and perhaps even a distribution to you of some kind in terms of top 10 bullet points that you'd want to keep in mind. So definitely something that's important and you want to have on your radar screen. If you'd like to reach out to us at North Main Financial Group, perhaps take a look at where things are for you just as far as your overall plan is concerned. Does this new legislation affect you, not affect you? It may be both in some instances. We'd love to hear from you. NorthMainFinancial.com.